Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. This is part 3 of the series of short talks on the Buddha. In the previous 2, we saw how we understand the Buddha as either the historical person, Buddha Shakyamuni, or as the cosmic Buddha, the eternal meaning of Buddha mind, awakened mind, in terms of the 3 kayas, and also Buddha as Buddha nature, the fact that the potential for those 3 kayas and everything we need is already present within us as human beings. To complete the picture, then I'd like to say 1 or 2 more things. Very traditional points. The first is that the Buddha represents what we call the twofold fulfillment. As human beings, we're looking, or many of us are looking, to fulfill our lives. And there are various ways we can define that fulfillment. And of course we define it first, and then we try to achieve it. So how we define the goals of our life is very important. In Dharma, we have as the end goal enlightenment, becoming a Buddha. It's very ambitious. It's a very, very high goal because we're looking for a perfect mind. But then when you think about it, what else would you look for? It's not some small backwater of deciding to become a singer, deciding to become a tailor. We are our mind. And we want that mind to be as perfect, as pure, as happy, as wise as it can be. So it's a very natural wish, not just for Buddhists, it's a very global wish for this thing that we are, a mind traveling from life to life, to become perfect and fulfilled. And we talk about a twofold fulfillment. Fulfillment for oneself and fulfillment for everyone else. And those 2 things actually come together. They may not do. One might think that in order to really help everyone else, one needs to sacrifice one's own benefit. Or that in order to gain the greatest possibilities for oneself, one needs to forget for a while, caring for others. It's not like that. These 2 aims, self and others, help each other. It's by our mind becoming pure and wise that we are in the best position to help others, and it's through helping others that our mind becomes pure and wise. The highest fulfillment for oneself is to be free from every suffering forever. And the name we give that is nirvana. Many people think of nirvana as being some sort of state. It's not. The word nirvana only tells us what is no longer there. No more suffering. No more karmic rebirth. Any existence will be an existence of compassion and love to help others. Nothing driven by the power of negative karma and bringing with it suffering. One is free from every suffering. That's the meaning of nirvana. So there are many levels of nirvana. Because once we're free from suffering, there are still many qualities that can be developed in the mind, especially qualities of wisdom and meditation. So, for oneself, one is first and foremost free from suffering, and then on top of that freedom, there are many qualities of insight into the truth in many ways. There is much development of skill to help others and teach others. There is a development of love and compassion until it is the universal, natural, spontaneous, uncontrived compassion of a Buddha. So one's mind reaches the fullness of mind. It is as perfect, as beautiful, as natural, and as eternal as a mind can be. That fulfillment for oneself goes along with a fulfillment for others. When we want to help others, of course we are very moved by poverty, we're very moved by hunger, we're very moved by illness, and so on and so forth. We are naturally compassionate, and compassion can grow, and we want to really help and care for others. But if you give food, 24 hours later somebody is hungry. You give shelter, it only lasts for so long. These things need to be given. But the greatest gift is the gift of wisdom, because wisdom helps people to help themselves. And we've seen this in so many developing countries. 30, 40 years ago, very kind countries and organizations were giving aid. And they've realized that wherever possible, although we need to give aid in the first place, otherwise people die. Terrible things happen. But in the long term, we need to help people care for themselves, become independent, live in their own human dignity. The gift of wisdom and skillful means. So our longing to become Buddha is to have the highest wisdom so that we can give people the means to help themselves. And this is why we say the Buddha helped more people than anybody else. Because even though he only had his 3 robes, his begging bowl, a walking stick, the wisdom he shared helped hundreds of thousands of people in his lifetime. And since then, billions upon billions of people. And because it makes people kinder, softer, wiser, then that spreads through their communities. The repercussions of the Buddha's enlightenment are incalculable. And they're still going on, 2,500 years after he achieved it. So, becoming Buddha is the twofold fulfillment. It is the greatest gift we can give to everybody else, and it's the greatest gift we can give to ourselves. As you heard in the previous talks, we think of the Buddha as teacher. And one important point for us who sometimes come from a Judeo-Christian background is to understand that Buddha is a teacher and not a savior. Buddha can't save us. If he could, we would have been saved a long time ago. We probably wouldn't be here. Buddha teaches, gives the teachings, gives us the methods to help ourselves. That's the role of the Buddha, and then as the lineage goes down through time, it's the role of our Buddhist teachers. They can't save you, no matter how much they want to, no matter how much you'd like them to. They can only give you the tools, the ideas, the meditation techniques, everything they have to offer, so that we each help ourselves to awaken our mind, which is what Buddhism is all about, to awaken it, to make it have more and more good qualities and less of the harmful things, as simple as that. But this having been said, then there is another aspect, so it's not 100% simplistic. Although Buddhas can't save us, they're not saviors, they're teachers. Nevertheless, there is a tremendous amount of help, spiritual help, support, that's available to us. And if you remember from the teachings about the three kayas, one of the qualities is that of a power to help any mind that is open. And this is very similar to an idea we find, for instance, in Christianity as grace. And I've met some Christians who feel very, very sorry for Buddhists. They say, this karma, it sounds like you have to build your freedom, your liberation, brick by brick, unit by unit, like saving up money in a bank. Whereas we have grace. And if you can open your mind to God, then the grace can solve everything. So I don't know what happens for Christians, how true that is, whether it's an idea, whether it's a truth. But in Dharma, we certainly have the idea that wonderful things can happen, and I think probably many of you listening to this have had in your lives moments, minutes, hours, days of experience where all of a sudden so much grace and goodness and light and understanding flooded in. That happens, changes everything. Usually the problem is it doesn't last. So when we look very, very closely, then there is a lot of wonderful presence and help there. We call it the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or of the Buddha mind, of our Buddha nature. And the Dharma teachings are there to show us how to open up to that. Generally, the process of opening up comes under the general heading of the word faith. Some of our greatest teachers, like Khenchen Trangwa Rinpoche, say all of the different aspects of Dharma, so many of them, and the teachings and the methods, they are all there for faith. And in particular, our Mahamudra teachings are there to open up, to help us to open. And once we can open, like a flower opening, then the sunlight that's present all the time, everywhere, in every molecule of the universe, in every moment of mind, the goodness can flood in. When we look very closely at Dharma, then we see that Dharma is there to take away the walls, the barriers, the limitations, the blockages, so that we open to what is naturally there. That's all I wanted to say in this short talk to finish this set of teachings on Buddha. Buddha, the person in history, the three kayas, our Buddha nature. Buddha as fulfillment for oneself and others. Buddha as a teacher, not a savior. And the presence of the Buddha mind as being the most amazing possibility of radiance, if only we can learn how to open up to it more and more. And I really hope that happens. It's really what this life is all about, an opportunity of awakening. Thank you all once again very much, and wishing you a good day wherever you are. Bye-bye.